Okay, well, welcome everyone to the Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast. Joe's Coach B, and I'm here. We're sad about that fat guy from American Pickers that died. I just knew him as the fatter one of the two. There was the skinny one. There was the fatter one. That's as far as I knew. So, but yeah, we're okay. We're gonna get through it. I mean, I'm more sad about Matumbo dying. Um,
Yeah.
that was way
Rest
more
in peace
sad.
to Dikembe Mutombo and
Yeah.
We
Frank
also had
from
T Rose
American
yesterday
Pickers.
too.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but we'll pick it up. I'm here with Dr. Dry. There he is, and Peepaw. Oof, oof.
Coming in strong.
And we have completed the fourth week of the fantasy football season, and I know less now than I did 4 weeks ago. So that's pretty much where we're at in 2024 and fantasy football. How are y'all feeling about um, fantasy football, your life in fantasy, or just the predictability of fantasy football 4 weeks into the season?
I'm still consumed by it, and it destroys me. Like I enjoy the punishment or something. It's not it's not fun, but I come back for it every single week. Um, the thing I love about diversifying my teams is I have one team that won. The others got shellacked miserably. So give and take. You can't always have them all. You can't always have it your way, unless you're Derrick Henry, of course. But we'll segue into that one later. Um, things are looking pretty grim, but you know what? Keep at hit chin up high and make some good waiver pickups, and hopefully we can eke out a win this week.
Eke it out. Eco. Yeah, so yeah, being in six leagues, you have a lot of weeks where you go 3-3, so you just kind of feel okay, and it's you don't get as high of highs and low of lows. But I am 3-1 in four leagues, and I am 2-2 in one league, and 0-4 in the dynasty startup that I started. So just not meant to win in that one. If you want to have your best game of the season, go against me. So which I'm fine with. I think there's a bit of a comedic element to it. I know you guys love playing with like the median, and I'm very much against the median because I think you have those highs and then the lows are just part of the game, and I put up a bunch of points, and it's at a certain point, like, I mean, if it was my only league I would want a median, but in this case, like, I think it's just part of fantasy football, part of the love of the game, I think.
Okay, well spoken, like a loser. Uh, and I think we need to talk about this. Rasheed Rice trying to be a team guy and going after the return on the interception. But as a fantasy guy, I really need you just to walk to the sideline. Do we agree with that?
I mean,
You are
and
a precious commodity. Don't put yourself in harm's way. Tank learned the thing last year. He's like, I got to be a team player, block, and he gets injured. So be selfish.
yeah, I mean, and I'm surprised that he even like returned to the scene because usually he flees the scene. And it's unlike him to put himself in harm's way for anyone. Like usually he's hurting other people. So, anyway, glad there was someone there to check on him afterwards. Um, but so I'm just saying, like, and I don't own Rasheed anywhere, so I just see it as karma. If he was on my team, I'd be like, oh, my poor baby. But he's not on my team because we have a good locker room, and we only draft high moral character people on my teams.
It was probably a weird week for Superfan Matt because I own in one in the league we're in together. I own Rasheed Rice, and we traded Rasheed Rice for Derrick Henry straight up last year.
Oh.
And to have a week like this week probably didn't feel so great. So, um, So there you
Two
But
opposite ends of the spectrum right there.
go.
yeah,
So
but the Tupelo penis tuckers are rolling in that one.
TPT is a solid squad. When we got Kenneth Walker on the field, it's a hard team to beat. Like I wouldn't want to play me with all my running backs healthy, but it's hard to keep all your running backs healthy all the time. And in this league right now, a running back is just getting pummeled. Like Alvin Kamara played with 2 broken ribs last week. Like literally playing football with 2 broken ribs. And he didn't even want to play. They were like, you know what? Let's just let Taysom Hill do the majority of like tough running today. And then Taysom Hill goes out and he's like, are you serious? I got to go play with 2 broken ribs. And yeah, you do. Get in there.
Let Taysom Hill break his rib. No one needs him.
Ruining fantasy life.
We don't need him till bye week.
Yeah, that's when we're calling on him. So yeah, week 4 in the books. We're I think mixed. Peepaw is less angry this week.
All things have settled. The kickers. Listen, you go in that bed, you learn a thing or two about how how nasty it is. You're like, I don't want to go back there. So everyone like does a double take. They're like, I gotta fix what's wrong here. They go back, check themselves, and then they go back out and perform their best every week. So round of applause for most of the officiating was still iffy in most of these games, but besides the fact we can't correct that. But the kickers, good job on that, and better. We got a fantastic game last night with the Lions. That was the only time I was ever glad there's 2 games on Monday night because I didn't have to watch the one. So good for that, and love seeing the Lions and Seahawks. Those matchups always seem to be massive scoring and a lot of fantasy potential in those. So good to see.
Yeah. Yeah, really cool seeing all them touchdowns go back and forth because we've had some real dudders lately. The Titans game that was weird. Like them scoring, I think the stat is over 30 points for the first time in over 1,000 days. So it's been like 3 years, and so they finally did it. But yeah, that Dolphins team's a mess. They are hurting without their boy Tua. So anyway, but oh, people, how's that team doing? That's all injured. Are you pulling off any wins?
Hold on, let me roll down this list. Are you talking about the team that has Isaiah Pacheco, Trey McBride, Tank Dell, Devontae Adams? Who else was injured this past week? Debo Samuel was questionable going into the game, and then I just dropped Tua from my IR spot to free up an extra spot. So that's only 6 people, but I'm down to 5 now, or maybe 4. So we lost in that one, if you're wondering, by 2 points. So
no, just
boys put up
Not
a good
bad.
fight, but alas, I still lost. So you can't win them all.
I always wonder whenever someone comes up, like whenever you shared that, I was like, I gotta learn more about this team, see how they're doing throughout the year.
It's
But
brutal. It's brutal in the streets, man. It's rough. Injuries
so
injuries aren't fun. It's one thing it's like the Rasheed Rice. You can't predict the injuries, and that's the thing that sucks about this game the most is when even if it's early in the game and they get injured, it's like, come on now. That seems to hurt the worst.
yeah, football injuries are just so much more like random and common, and you can't see them coming. Like if someone gets injured on the basketball court, like you saw it happen, and you're like, "Oh, that's an injury. I knew it." But like someone can just pull up in football, grab a body part, and fall over, and you're like, "What just happened?"
have you guys ever had one of I mean, if you have the Mahomes and Rice stack, like that's kind of messed up. But but no, I had one year in an IDP league. I had Vontez Burfict and Antonio Brown, and it was like the one that caused the CTE with Brown. And whenever he did that, I was like, "Come on, guys, same team. What are you doing?" And they just don't think about what's important in their fantasy team. They're just too focused on that other game going on the field. So,
Idiots.
you know,
Remember, you're not a bad manager. It's your guys that aren't performing. You're a great
exactly,
manager. Just want you to know that.
exactly,
PSA announcement for everyone out there.
exactly.
So, award time. We're going to start with our Hillshire Farms Holiday Gift Basket of Disappointment Award. So, to you boys, who are you disappointed in this week?
I think Marvin Harrison might be the first contender to end up in. I don't know if he's been on the
All
Nug box, but he's ended up in every single category. So kudos to him on that achievement. But he is my fresh off the farm Hillshire Farm Award winner this week. Um, he only had 5 receptions, and 2 of those were in the first drive of the game. It's weird because he had a decent points day, all things considered, in the fantasy landscape, but it's kind of fun watching the offense of the Cardinals, but how good are they actually? I Is it a Kyler thing? I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with that team, but um, I still think he's fine regardless. There's a little bit of question and haze that surround that team right now for me to, and that is why he ended up in this spot this week.
Yeah, and I have sorry, I got a sleeper notification, and I have some trades out for Devonte Adams, so that's where my heart's at right now.
Are you
But
trading for or trading away?
I'm trying to trade for him before he ends up somewhere great. It'll really suck if he ends up on like the Titans or something. But like, but no, I think he ends up on like the Jets or which might not be that awesome, but I think it'll be, I don't know. We've seen what Rogers is doing with the Lizard King. Imagine what he can do with Devonte Adams. Rest in
And
peace, Garrett Wilson.
yeah,
But
really, Garrett Wilson's not what anyone thought he could be, but they got the cap
yeah,
for it. I mean,
yeah,
Devontae
yeah,
Adams uniting with another green team. Think of the
yeah.
possibilities here.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, and then also like I know he's kind of gotten the raw end of the deal. Like he joined the Raiders to play with his boy Derek Carr. Well, Derek Carr gets traded. Then he's playing with whoever the hell at quarterback for the next year and a half. And like, we've seen it like on that wide receiver show on Netflix. He's almost like getting killed out there because they're just laying him out to dry, not Dr. Dry. And it's it's just it's hard to watch. It's they're wasting probably the last couple of years of his prime. And anyway, he's still got it. He's still got the juice. He's still looking great whenever he does get the ball. Um, so I mean, yeah, I hope he ends up somewhere good. I'll settle for New Orleans. He at least likes playing with Derek Carr. He'll at least get him the ball. Um, but no, Garrett Wilson actually is my. I have two. I forgot to share Garrett Wilson with you guys, but then I really got to thinking about it, and I'm like, how many times is he going to have 4 catches for 50 yards? Like, you expect a little bit more out of him there. He's borderline God Squad like person at preseason. Like if you're high on him, and he's that borderline first second round turn kind of pick, and he's just he's putting up like Wandale Robinson's putting up better numbers than him. Khalil Shakir putting up better numbers than him. Like you can get like some guy you picked up off the waiver wire is more consistent than Garrett Wilson, your late first, early second round pick. So very concerned with Garrett Wilson. Obviously, I'm not. You can't drop him, but you might drop him before the end of the year if he continues this. Like if he continues to get you 10, he's just gonna ride the bench. So very concerned with Garrett Wilson. Jalen Hurts, what the hell was that? And the whole Eagles offense, um, just looking really bad. I know he didn't even have his weapons, but couldn't even get the ball to donkey teeth. Like, what are we doing? So anyway, yeah, they looked horrible against the Bucks. So, so Jalen Hurts, definitely some concern there and how they ended last year, and I don't know, maybe they just need this bye week to get healthy and get their guys back out there. So hopefully they can right the ship, but he is someone I'm definitely disappointed in, definitely sending a basket to this week.
Yeah, the whole Eagles offense is just looking wrong right now, Hurts included. But I did like him getting the tush push touchdown, or he got the 1 yard score this week instead of
Yeah.
another Saquon score or whatever. But mine is Jalen Naylor, who's like who was kind of like random, but then fantasy waiver wire darling. And then we were all like, oh, is he going to survive the Addison return? And it's not looking promising. So, um,
Hi,
I mean,
I'm
but I didn't
Jalen
want to
Naylor.
SWB him yet. I didn't want to SWB him quite yet because maybe Addison has like a re-injury or something. But I think he's probably S the B material this week to go ahead and let him off your squad because he just took like such a deep cut in targets and shares, and it wasn't like the Vikings weren't rolling. The Vikings were rolling. The offense was clicking, and he wasn't rolling. So yeah, big turd right here. So
Okay.
yeah, Jalen Naylor is my Hillshire boy this week. Moving on as we get further angrier, we're going to the sleep number shit the bed award. Who this week est the B for you boy?
Oh, stinky. So the sleep number S the B award, and we've noticed that there's kind of different ways to look at it, right? So I've always approached it as like this is like you're cool dropping him, but like Zay Flowers is my guy this week. I'm not dropping him, but I'm not starting him. So I guess these are the guys that maybe you're not starting anymore, or just just crap the bed for 1 week. That's another good way to look at it. Because like Tyreek Hill, you're still starting him. Brees Hall, you're still starting him. But you're very disappointed. You got him right underneath Amber Heard there. So it's a pretty shitty situation. And we have about filled up the bed. At 4 weeks in, we have no more room, so we're gonna have to finagle some guys around. Maybe Arthur Smith can scooch over down in that bottom right hand corner. Um, but yeah, that's so we're excited to present our week 4 Fit the Bed by Sleep Number award. My nominees are Zay Flowers and Raheem Morris. So Raheem, he might get a permanent spot right there next to Arthur Smith from Harry Potter. Um, and because he promised us something different. He said he was going to use, week our week 2 sleep number as the B member, Kyle Pitts. Our week 1, we have Drake London there. Do we have any? I'm sure we'll have Bijan on here at some point, but it's not looking like he's using them. So I'm thinking he's the guy behind all this, and he took some notes from Arthur Smith, and he was just telling us what we wanted to hear at the beginning of the year. Oh yeah, I'm gonna use all these guys. Bullshit. He's not using anyone. He will probably be on here for the rest of the semester. Zay Flowers 2 points. What are you doing? That sucks. Um, so yeah, Zay Flowers, great job, buddy. And so I believe he has now a 2-time Get the Board Bet Award winner with his friend Mark, who put him on
Ooh, ooh, that's my hot take. Granted, it was a pretty easy one here. He who what by a show of hands, who has started him this entire season?
there. Not I said the dime.
Anyone else? Anyone else? You?
Oh,
Okay.
you're such a believer.
Yeah, this is back to back goose eggs, so that's
Wow.
fun. I mean, he's on here pretty much the same reason his good old bud Zay Flowers is on here. That offense is just when you got the backfield like they do. Do you really need these weapons on the outside? I guess the only thing you really need your wide receivers and tight ends for is blocking. Did they forget that they can catch? I mean, eh, it's just really puzzling to me when you got a guy that's got top tier talent, such as these two guys on this offense that is buzzing, and they can't get anything going. So
Oh no. Oh
from
no.
now on, I am
Oh.
I'm benching Mark Andrews for the foreseeable future until he proves otherwise. Because right now it hurts seeing a big old goose egg in your lineup each week. The other guy I put in there is Brees Hall. As Doc mentioned, we're not dropping him. It was just down week. It was kind of a weird week in general for that game, but um, Sharon, we're getting closer to 50% sharing of snaps with Braylon Allen out there. So something to watch out for. Brees had 10 rushing attempts, 4 yards, 5 targets, 2 receptions, 14 yards. So all around, not a fantastic game, but it wasn't really a great game for anyone involved in that game. Period. So I'm kind of looking past it, but just a down week for everyone in general for that.
Hey, Mark Andrews, if you're listening, you suck, man.
But he's a great blocker.
Yeah, I think kind of scary, but I think the way the Ravens were playing this past week, and really the way they played against the Cowboys to a point too, that's really how they want their day to go, which is just run
Scary.
the F out of both running backs, run Lamar Jackson. Lamar takes less than 20, maybe even less than like 18 pass attempts a game. That's really how they want to win. So it's scary for like, Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews and Dave Flowers and anyone in the receiving. But I think as they get into like more tough competition, playing like more dynamic teams, maybe they can or they'll have to open it up a bit. But yeah, Mark Andrews definitely riding the pine, as they like to say. And I got Tyreek on here as my SB award winner. He is not quarterback proof. Like there are guys who are quarterback proof. JJ is quarterback proof, but Tyreek is not quarterback proof. He's shown that ever since Tua went down, and I think he needs to be not dropped, but he needs to be on your bench until Tua comes back or they trade for someone else. But they cannot scheme anything up to get Tyreek going. They can't get anything going. I mean, they lost to the Titans for God's sakes. Like that's when you know when Will Levis beats you, that means you had a really bad day.
Well, he only played half the game, so don't worry about that.
That's true.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer led our sleigh that night.
That boy,
The
he
uh,
goes up and wins football games. It's kind of weird.
the
It's very strange.
Baltimore Ravens, their upcoming schedule, just so we can feel this out here. Running back versus wide receivers on that team. Coming up, they've got Cincinnati, Washington, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, Denver.
They're gonna be running it.
They're going to be running that ball like none other. So I'm not feeling too hot. I mean, are you benching Zay Flowers?
Yeah,
I think I think I've only started him 1 out of 4 weeks this year, and quickly realized that was a bad idea.
yeah. He was someone that I was like kind of in on, and I think I wanted to be more in on him, but I'm kind of glad I only ended up with him in like one spot. Um, and I've still started him, I think, because of maybe matchups or I don't know what it. Maybe I just don't have anyone better, but like if you have like the Wandale Robinsons of the world or like the Khalil Shakirs of the world, like throw them in. They're gonna get you 10 points, where they'll get you 500% the output that Zay Flowers does.
So our last award is we're gonna perk up a little bit, and brought to you by Ba Da Ba Ba Ba.
McDonald.
McDonald's.
And so the 11th McNugget Award. These boys made us happy this week. They made our pants get pointy a little bit this week as we were watching. I was waiting to time that while Dr. Dry was drinking his drink.
My PBR.
I wanted a spit take there.
It almost happened. That was really good. I thought you were just doing a normal intro. Oh, I didn't even change the week 3 part at the top.
Oh,
This is supposed to be week 4.
the quality's really going downhill. And
I
so
teased it.
I'll start because I think mine needs a little explanation. I think two running back teams were a pleasant surprise this week. We don't normally think two running backs can work, but it's possible with all these teams I have here, Seattle and Detroit, Baltimore, and Tennessee, that two running backs might work for them. At least we've seen it. We know it works in Detroit. We saw it. We've seen it work a couple times in Baltimore. It worked for the first time in Tennessee this week, and then Seattle. It's almost like you got both those guys got to be rostered because if one's hurt, the other's the bell cow. Or when they're like when the game is like going off and they're having a good game, then they're both going to get theirs. So there's not a lot of teams where you're happy with both guys, but I thought that was a pleasant surprise this week. That's 8 running backs you can have on your team. We all need running backs, so the more the better.
The I heard a stat that both the Lions running backs, Gibbs and Montgomery, are both top 10 right now.
That's awesome.
So that's pretty dang impressive for them. Um,
Yeah, that's
the guys I've got nominated, King Henry was sitting over at Burger King last week. Probably deserved to be in the Nug box, but he decided to say, "Beat it! I don't need you guys. I'm gonna go to Burger King because I'm a king." So this week, though, he decided to come over to the dark side, and he is now sitting happy with a happy meal, and he got an extra nug. So what's not to love here? Um,
a
they just ran all over this past game. It was just a rushing fest. They tried to get him to 200. He was sitting at 199 yards for the week. So um, so close, hoping that he can break some crazy new record this year. But things are looking great for him. He's really changed up their entire offense. Um, Coming from our last word, we saw what those receivers are doing. We see what the running back room is doing. So um, big difference in Baltimore. But kudos to him for scooching over to McDonald's this week. And Alvin is currently, where would you think he is for the running back ranking for this season so far?
I,
three.
Coach,
I think I saw he's one. Is he
he is
one?
one. Where do you think he's at overall?
Oh, I didn't look at overall. I'd
Six.
say like maybe 6.
One. At least in
Yeah.
PPR formats, he's one overall. So that itself deserves the Nug Award. We talked about he had 2 rib injuries, and the dude still is a PPR machine. He is an absolute unit out there for PPR. So um, enough said. You're the 1-1. You deserve a little bit of everything. So congrats to you two up top.
Yeah, and the Titans could use a guy like Derrick Henry. Oh wait, we traded him. So, but we're still on there. So I put a player that I don't even like on here. DeAndre Swift, probably the worst player we'll have on here all year. But and I was against him. I was against the unstoppable duo of DeAndre Swift and Chuba Hubbard this weekend. So that's one of my 3 losses of the week, I guess. So yeah, DeAndre Swift, and who knows how many people he actually helped out. He was probably on a lot of people's benches. He but he just went absolutely bonkers, and because of that, like it's definitely a good surprise if he's that guy that you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't even be starting this guy, but I'll throw him in there, and then you have him and Chuba Hubbard as your running backs, and you get the win. Like good surprise, right? So DeAndre Swift, you know, he's on here. He'll probably be on the shit the bed award week, like next week. Another guy also worried about Rashad White. We got to mention it, I think. Over on Hillshire, I forgot that I was gonna write it down, but he's gonna lose his job to Bucky Irving. But anyway, we're talking about the good surprises right now. So, Jordan Love, we know he's awesome and everything, but for him to come back from injury after being questionable for the whole week and just having such a awesome performance, 4 touchdowns. Who cares about the 3 interceptions? You love to see it. Love that Jordan Love is back. So welcome back. Get you a nice 11 piece McNuggets from McDonald's today, and don't forget the drink.
I will say you bring up a good point. Welcome back, Jordan Love. But also, I now have faith in almost all those wide receivers that are playing for him. So, same could be said for Miami. If we get a decent quarterback, faith is then restored in wide receivers. Um, I'm a owner of A-Chan in several leagues. I would have thought, hey, he's gonna get dumb passes left and right, but he's been really close to the S&B award, but not by his own doing. So that's why he hasn't ended up there. But this week with as scarce as the running backs are, I'm debating on benching him even just because it's not looking good for Miami in a whole. I don't even think it's gonna matter who they play against. So um, eh, scary, but once again, congrats to the Packers. And that was probably the second best game of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it is.
looking at looking at waivers this week, who are y'all targeting in your waiver pickups?
Waivers this week, we've got looks like Trey Sermon's probably gonna be top of that list for most people, especially uh, if you're the Jonathan Taylor owner. With any kind of injuries, this is why I personally stay away from Jonathan Taylor is the injury concern. So um, he is very not rostered. So there's a really good chance he's available in your league. I don't know how much I would be spending if you're in a fab league on him, but definitely for Jonathan Taylor owner, I would look at picking him up. Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker, we talked about it earlier with Devontae Adams potentially rumors leaving. That then opens up a big spot in that offense, unless you leave it all for Brock Bowers to take in. But Trey Tucker is probably the one that's available for you to pick up. Jacoby Myers, a good chance he is rostered, but Trey Tucker, I do like him. I think, Coach, we had a TT session earlier this season before season started with Trey Tucker being the unsung hero of the year. So he's got his potential chance for breakout if Devontae ends up moving on, but that is to be seen. And Wandale Robinson, mentioned him earlier also. We need to say a prayer for our who's the Malik Neighbors. That dude is gonna get injured like none other. If he keeps getting the ball thrown to him, he keeps taking hits left and right. Um, the Giants are going to be consistently behind in games, which means they're going to be passing it. Wandale has been a target machine too. So, a guy you might not be looking at, but take a chance and maybe see how it goes the next couple weeks. And if he's still getting those targets consistently, probably a good pickup in those PPR form leagues.
Yeah, and I think Wandale, probably not available in too many leagues, but like this is where those 8-man leagues, those 10-man leagues, like if he's still out there, scoop him up, like he's worth it. And he's gonna have some real opportunity now too. But yeah, love the Trey Tucker pickup. I do think Devontae Adams will get traded. I don't think he goes to like Casey or something, but I think he'll go to a pretty good spot. I just don't see the Raiders helping out the Chiefs like that. But you never know. They've been doing some dumb shit lately. So, um, so I mean, Trey Tucker though he got in the end zone. They like getting him involved. He's fast. He's real fast. So, look at Trey Tucker. Couple guys I'm looking at that I already have actually. Kareem Hunt. A couple weeks ago, whenever Isaiah Pacheco went down, rest in peace. We were, everybody was kind of shooting their shot at either Carson Steele, Samaje P. Ryan, or Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt was kind of the least of those three. I had a feeling that he was going to take over though, so like I got him in a few leagues. If he's still out there, I would, skip Trey Sermon, go for Kareem Hunt. He's like probably the third, like, most added guy or whatever. But I don't know. I just don't believe in Trey Sermon. I'm all for everybody else blowing their fab on him. I don't think he's talented. Yeah, I don't think he did much after Taylor went down either. But yeah, Kareem Hunt, if he's still out there, Justice Hill. We were talking about those two running back teams very relevant. I think he had like 20 points or something like that. Might be wrong there, but like somewhere from like 12 to 20 points as Derrick Henry's backup, like or change of pace guy, right? So Justice Hill, I know I'm starting Kareem Hunt and Justice Hill in a league where I'm just really hurt at running back, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. So that's good. Another good ad, Justin Fields, if he's still out there, he was the number one QB this last week and there's still going to be that ongoing threat of, will they bring Russell Wilson back? But Justin Fields available in some leagues. If you're, just I don't know, say you keep adding the wrong guy like the Derek Carrs of the world, or and then you try to correct that with something else that went wrong. Like try Justin Fields. And then Dontavian Wicks. I think he's finally going to start getting some real run here. He had like 24 fantasy points. Him and Jaden Reed tore it up. I'm starting to think Romeo Dobbs might be fading a little bit because he probably is the least explosive out of what they have. And Christian Watson might be going on IR. Surprise, surprise. So Tavian Wicks, definitely a good ad. And that's what I got. Vinny, who you adding?
I'm gonna put Joe Flacco out there. He kind of got Indy on track. Michael Pittman had a game for the first time this year, so Joe Flacco is worth an ad. We've seen what he can do on teams. I like the Dontavian Wicks. I want to make sure to bring that up because I think Christian Watson going down. We saw that, and then also Tucker Kraft. I think if he's out there, he's going to be the man. Luke Musgraves, maybe future person, but it seems like they like Tucker Kraft now. And so yeah, I think, but I think with the bye week starting this week, so I know we got Hurts is going to be on bye, and Goff is going to be on bye, and whoever other couple folks are. But so people might need a QB, and so the Justin Fields, Joe Flacco, those could be some potential ads.
Yeah.
I want to say that Joe Flacco. I am like low key hoping that Joe Flacco plays because for the love of everything, if we throw the other dude that shall not be named in there, all those wide receivers are going to suck because of it. So I want to see some Joe Flacco. If Joe Flacco's playing, Josh Downs is another solid pickup. He's your slot dude on the team. Joe Flacco loves him, throwing the ball to him. So he was injured being part of the season. He was getting a lot of hype during preseason, but Josh Downs is another dude. If he's out there, take a look at him.
And before we move on, I have a surprise for the host here. So I checked Underdog this week. You know, we had some teams out there, right? Well, they are doing horrible, but somebody did use our code. Our friend Ben used code fifth quarter fantasy, and Underdog matched his deposit up to $100, and we got $25 for it. So we're going to be using that later this year, and so shout out to Ben Hall, the GOAT. Making sure to check in with me before he signed up, and I sent him that fifth quarter fantasy code, and they matched his deposit, and he had a really fun time. Other than that, like the teams are doing terrible. Like I think we're like the best one's 9th out of 12 or something. But good update from Underdog.
All right.
Did we check? Can you use your social security checks on that?
I don't know. I think that's only if you win. So I haven't had to do anything with taxes. All we do is lose.
And Ben's family didn't get groceries that week, but it's fine. He had a good time betting, and that's really all that matters. So.
Yep. Hey, that's what it takes. But I mean, if he did win anything, he should go buy a nice 12 ounces of Pabst Blue Ribbon. They're celebrating their 180th anniversary. Happy anniversary, Pabst Blue Ribbon, making average beer for 180 years.
To Frank.
And before we get into preview, one of our sponsors has had just such a reaction. The people have really enjoyed this sponsor, and so they wanted to rerun their ad today. And yeah, so take a listen.
Hey folks, it's Michael from Michael's Pizza. I hope you enjoy pizza, because at Michael's we have it. Come on down and enjoy yourself a slice of hot, tasty pizza at Michael's Pizza. We'll have several specials at Michael's Pizza. On Tuesdays, we have burgers. On Thursdays, we have fries. And on Saturdays, we have ice cream. So come on down to Michael's Pizza. grab yourself a handful of Chex Mix, and sit down for a slice of hot, tasty pizza.
Thanks,
Right.
Michael.
So you got to give the people what they want. The people want Mackles. We give them Mackles.
It is pizza night or burger night after all.
Yeah. Make sure you grab a burger over at Mackle's tonight before they close.
Before we move on, Matt's got a good point here. Rico Dowdle,
That's your
he
boy.
is the starting running back in Dallas. So I did draft him as the last 17th round pick in one of my leagues that's not doing too hot, but that's besides the point. I did start him. He ended up giving me 13 points, so he was my only bright spot of the team that week. So, um, good point there, Rico Dowdle, though. Take a look, see if he's available in any of your leagues as a starting running back in the NFL that has some leg to it.
That's why
Right.
Zamir White still is on one of my teams. He's a starting running back. Nothing more. Not starting though.
So we got our week 5 preview. We got our first game is going to be Ravens at Bengals. So this is a noonday kickoff. Uh, Ravens have had 2 explosive back-to-back wins. The Bengals got their first win this week, so good for them. The Bengals have started to look like themselves just a little bit. That passing game starting to show up. And Baltimore, I think, is really finding what they want to be this year. So, as far as this matchup and fantasy implications, what do y'all think?
I love the divisional games always just have so much extra hype to them. So, um, Ravens are favored by 2.5. So, we got 2.5 spread and then total of over 50 points. That it should mean a great matchup. And once again, if you want to bet, use code fifth quarter FanceCast at Underdog to match your donations. So, if you
Donations.
do want to bet, take a look at that. But
And so we can get $25 again.
so we can provide better entertainment for you. The Ravens, I think we already discussed this one quite a bit here, though. I'm not starting anyone outside of Lamar Jackson and maybe both running backs, maybe just Derrick Henry. I don't know if I'd start both running backs, but or just Derrick Henry and Lamar. Other than that, I'm probably leaving that. And Justin
Oh,
Tucker, your kicker. Yeah, exactly.
Paul, do you
Uh,
want to start Mark Andrews?
oh, thanks for asking. I am not. I am a sucker for punishment, but not this week. I'm going to change it this week. So I'm not going to be starting Mark Andrews. So Bengals, though, the running back room there has been surprisingly good. Chase Brown, another pickup if he's out there. I don't know if he is in your waivers, but Chase Brown's looking really, really explosive out of the backfield in Cincinnati. So um, Zach Moss been doing surprisingly well as well. They're at home, riding the high from their win. So should be a great matchup though between these two.
Yeah. Yeah, Chase Brown. We should have talked about him more because I think we've all liked him for a while, a little sooner than most people have. And he's looked great. Like I think most of us here are a Chase Brown over Zach Moss kind of guy. But it's one of those things where like Chase Brown could have been on that McNugget Award list. Same thing with that little Bengals logo. Put both of them on there. A two running back system. So here's my worry coming into this game. Last time the Ravens and Bengals played, Joe Burrow got hurt. And I remember vividly as a Joe Burrow owner at the time. This was in a dynasty league. I ended up trading him, trying to secure a championship. Still didn't work, but anyway, he went down, and then one of the guys on the Ravens defense got interviewed afterwards, and they asked about the injury, and instead of like, "Oh, hope he gets to feeling better," they're like, "Yeah, injuries happen sometimes when you play the Baltimore Ravens," and I'm like, "That's messed up." so, so like, I think they're a dirty organization. I think they try to injure people. I wouldn't put it past them. I don't know. I just don't trust it. Um, but I worry about Joe Burrow out there and his poor little knee, and I don't know. I think I am starting Justice Hill. I think it's a situation where the Ravens can definitely run the ball however they want. whenever they want and whoever they want with. So I think Justice Hill will get a good 14 points, and Derrick Henry will get 27 points. So, 27.2. And and then I think the Bengals will be down. They'll be throwing as long as Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt. Jamar Chase, he's still not Jamar. He's not the Jamar Chase we know. I think he's getting his nut early and getting out. Like he had that long play and then didn't do shit afterwards. He was like, oh well, I've done my work. I haven't been paid yet, so I don't want to do too much. So I think that's how he's kind of playing it. It's kind of been hard to watch. Um, so yeah, lots of things to like and hate here. But obviously, I think it will be a good game as long as everyone stays healthy and plays nice and does nice touches.
Nice touches. Yeah, I
No.
hope this is the beginning of some sort of Chase Brown changeover, or at least like a 50-50 split, because it hasn't been that yet. So I think that's what I'll be watching primarily, is what's happening with Chase Brown. So number 2 is Bills at Texans. I think this is the game of the week that everyone's wanting to see. Um, so this
Touchdown.
I'm thinking, yeah, this could be really good for fantasy. Love as a double. I'm in 2 leagues and a double Nico owner, and like just loving seeing him become that wide receiver one. I was listening to a podcast today when they were talking about just after he signed his deal this year, everyone was like, "You are gonna think he's underpaid very quickly," and it was like, "Yep." Big time. And so yeah, watching him go off is nice. CJ had his first like big game this year, so all the CJ owners are finally happy. And then Josh Allen continues his up down kind of thing. He had his down week as far as fantasy points were concerned, but I think this should be a really high score game, right?
I would like to think so, but it depends if Joe Mixon is back. If Joe Mixon is back, do the Texans do the same thing that the Ravens did to the Bills?
Mm.
That's the question. Because if you don't need the wide receivers, you don't have to pass the ball. Points stay low for fantasy. So, um, as a Stroud owner in several locations, and hopefully Tank gets back out there, I got him in a couple leagues too. Hoping both those guys get back on the field and start racking up some points. But it should be a star-studded matchup through and throughout. Khalil Shakir had his first drop this past week. He was perfect up until this past week. So, um, dog, I see you. Good job. If you're watching, congratulations. Keep up the good work out there. You are a stud on my fantasy team, and I believe in you. So go out there and keep doing good work and put up a W this weekend in my fantasy roster.
Ooh. Yes. Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah. It's good. Let's see. So yeah, I think so. You know what this matchup here reminds me of? Back in 2010, Vinny got a random Christmas gift, similar to the Hillshire basket, but it was like my version. So I think I got him it was a bank that he could put his little coins in. We were roommates, so like this is why it was such an intimate gift. But it was a football, and it had like a voice activator thing. Every time you put something in there, it goes touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. And so that's what's going to be happening here. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown for everyone. So I think the spread there, the total is a little low. We could be wrong here, but I mean, yeah, it's definitely a smash spot for Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud. I want to see them go at it, go head to head, and start kissing because they're just going to put on a show for everyone. And and so, but maybe they shouldn't kiss. But but yeah, tons of touchdowns. I mean, yeah, we only have one viewer right now, so we can say whatever we want. um, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I do hope Joe Mixon comes back. I don't think the Bills get Derrick Henry to death like they did the last time. Sometimes Ravens just have those games where it was over when it started, and it was. I think that's what happened to the Bills. I think they get back on track on the real.
And the problem with the piggy bank that you got me was I had all my coins in this coffee can, and then you give me this new piggy bank, and I want to transfer the coins from the
One at a
coffee can
time.
into the piggy bank. But that first night, when I'm putting every single coin into it, it was a lot. I mean, it was like touchdown, touchdown, down. Like it was, and I did. I was diligent. I put every coin from my previous piggy bank into my new piggy bank. But when you got roommates and it's just touchdown, touchdown, touchdown,
What a year.
that was a great year. Oh, 2011 or whatever year that
Yeah, back when Peepaw was in high school.
was.
11th grade.
So the next one is the Cardinals at the Niners, and so that's your afternoon kickoff. And so I think there could be good potential here. I think it depends on what's happening. Like, is Debo like healthy? What's the word on Kittle? Is Kittle out
He
or
played this past weekend.
okay? So hopefully he's like progressing because I know him and Debo probably played, but were they really 100%? So hopefully they're progressing in the right direction. And then Arizona, like their record, it's like their football record doesn't demonstrate like the fantasy ability on that squad, and so I like to see MHJ for Joe's sake get going again. Come on. And so yeah, I would like to see the Cardinals get going. San Francisco have one of those like lax defensive games, and we actually get some like points on the board for both
It The Cardinals almost seem like Lions of a couple of years ago, where the defense was putrid, but the offense could put up points. So it's great for fantasy all around because that means high scoring on the other team too. So we love that here.
teams.
So that's almost what they seem like. Like they look halfway decent, but they're not great by any means. But they're still putting up some points. So um, 49ers probably come out on top, and the spread shows that. But um, once again, division games, they put up some crazy things sometimes happen. So I'm not counting anything out of the picture for this one. And 49ers news, Chris McCaffrey.
Hmm.
I know when I get a surgery, I like to fly over to other countries too and get procedures taken care of. That's my way of doing things. Flying coach too on the way to do that. I'm sure he does. So
You have the PTO for it too.
I got plenty of PTO for it. I cash that puppy out and take a nice little trip on that. Get my hammy fixed up right there quick. But CMC, that's the game you play when you draft him. And I had him 1 year, a couple years back, and lo and behold, he was injured after week one and never touched him again. So, um, Jordan Mason owners, congrats to you guys. And this should be another game where he just racks up points like none other. So, should be high score and look forward to it.
Touchdown, touchdown. One of those. It's definitely a piggy bank game. So that's what I think I'm gonna start calling these a piggy bank game. So, so, so yeah. I mean, I think it's yeah, definitely like a oh man, yeah, you love a good bad defense for fantasy. Like when your team can like the Lions a couple of years ago was even more awesome than the Lions of this year and last year. Like because the defense was so bad. Like they put up so it was just so fantasy friendly. It was awesome. So I definitely see that in the Cardinals but I don't see them getting better. So we might be able to enjoy this for a couple more years. And so I think I also think and I just traded for this guy. Big trade involving Puka Nakua. moved off of him. I mainly did it for some 2027 first, but it was like Puka and like a second for Brandon Ayuk, which I'm not that excited about, but I'm trying to talk myself into him. And then two 2027 first, a 2027 second, and a 2027 third. So basically, I have enough the next 2 years. I now have 11 first round picks over the next 3 years. So I'm thinking about trying to get Malik Neighbors with those 11 first rounders, an offer he can't refuse. Because I offered Puka and 4 firsts and he wouldn't do it. So
Jeez.
I don't have Puka anymore, but I have 11 firsts. So anyway, well, it's just wealth at this point, generational wealth. Because I'm gonna have first rounders until my son takes over for me. Um, so I'll put it in my will, like, hey, take over this team. You'll have plenty of first rounders to work with. I'm gonna continue that trend. So, um, and I forget where I was going with it, but I know I had a point there. I think I just kind of started roster baiting in front of everyone, but yeah, I moved Puka, and I think this is the get right Brandon Ayuk game. BA is gonna be a badass. He's gonna show up against this crappy Cardinals defense, and he's gonna 69 on the 49ers for sure this week. So yeah, I think it's going to be one of those games. Who knows? Maybe James Conner gets hurt. That wouldn't be good for anyone. But you could see it happening this week, so let's look forward to that.
We don't condone injuries.
No, but we'll try to call them.
All right. So last one is Saints at Chiefs. This is your Monday night surprise, surprise Chiefs on Monday Night Football. And so I think this one has a few interesting storylines. One, Derek Carr's kind of shown that I think he's just still Derek Carr. He's inconsistent, but can be good. Um, Rashid Shaheed
Oh,
came back
he's
this
nothing
week.
more than a common butt cheese boy.
Derek Carr, not Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah, not Rashid Shaheed. Rashid Shaheed came back this week and showed that he's more than just that deep threat. Like he had like 8 catches, I think, and a ton of targets. So that's nice to see. Kamara's Kamara. And then the Chiefs side, are we back to the Chiefs having no wide receivers again, or does someone rise to the top? And then, or Kelsey owners, do they finally start to feel a little bit better? Well, and then also, like, Chiefs have a lot of question marks, so I wonder if this is really going to hurt them without Rasheed Rice. So yeah, a few different things really just to watch and see during this matchup.
If you were wondering, Sky Moore is still Sky Moore, and he can't play football because he dropped several passes this past weekend when Mahomes tried to get it to him. So I think this is where, if you are a Kelsey owner, you are pretty dang happy with the outcome here.
Guy left.
Because if this is not a, I know he had a pretty decent game this past week, but if he does not repeat and have another big game this week, um, I'd be a little bit concerned if it's sub 5 points. But if he's putting up 10, 15, 20 points, I think all's good in tight end land for you. So interesting for that aspect to see what they do from the wide receivers. Saints started hot, now they're not. Kind of riding along Katy Perry, hot and you're not. So um, we'll see if they which road they keep following, if they slip and slide, or if they're able to heat it up and score some points on the Chiefs here. But all around, just should be interesting. It seems like the Chiefs are definitely at a disadvantage with the injuries, but um, messy backfield room. I did want to mention that too. You got Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's potential. I don't think he's coming back this week, but maybe next week. Then you have 4 running backs in that room. I, for one, don't want a single hand in that pot. So that's just my opinion on that, and we'll let Alvin Kamara cook.
Yeah. So, um, I think Kareem Hunt takes over the backfield this week. But I mean, Carson still had his shot. He fumbled. Wild man, wild hair. He has a crocodile Peta's piss. Not the guy you want back there. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I know he just won't go away, but I don't think he poses a threat. I think they trust Kareem Hunt. I think they're happy to have him back. I think it might be a big Kareem Hunt game. Maybe gets in the end zone twice. But what do I know? So I mean, definitely prime time. So all cameras on Taylor Swift and Travis Swift, and so it could be a big blow up game. The ratings are going to be through the roof. So Travis better put on for his city and for his lady. So definitely a good spot for that. I think the Saints come out a little cold. I think the Chiefs do well at home on prime time. Them and the refs are going to be playing real hard to get that win. So lots of lots of things going on here. Even though they don't have receivers, I really don't. I don't think anybody should be starting any receivers on the Chiefs. Kelsey, Hunt, Mahomes,
That's
and
even
Mahomes you're side eyeing. You're side eyeing Mahomes. And Kareem Hunt is just if you're into that sort of thing. You probably have better options. If you don't though, like that's your move. Um,
I don't.
yeah. so so that's yeah. If you're like super injured, like Peepaw's team, like Kareem Hunt might be a good way to go there. But they're still gonna get the win. I don't know how to explain it, but they're gonna get the win. They're good for real football. So that's how I see that night shaking out.
Do you think Travis would take Taylor's last name, or would she take his last name, or would they stay each other and act like it didn't happen?
Well, I think they should hyphenate.
Yeah.
So who's first then?
Um, Probably Swift first.
Did you get the new Taylor Swift Kelsey CD? Like,
I think no. I think she says Swift and he becomes Swift Kelsey.
oh,
That's how
he
it
has
breaks
to
down.
hyphenate,
Who wears the pants in the family?
right?
I like before we get out of here. I like Superfan Matt's question. I know for me, I don't think Jameson Williams is a safe start. I think he's still that big play guy. He hasn't shown like he hasn't put up like a 8 for 96 stat line. He's still putting up like 2 for 80. So he's not a safe start. He can be a good start, but I wouldn't consider him a safe start.
He's a situational start.
Yeah,
I think you're most likely starting him.
yeah,
But you're taking that risk. He's kind of a I mean, you're happy to have him though. Like you're not like, oh shit, I gotta start Jameson Williams. But it's
yeah.
you don't feel 100% safe, but you're excited about the risk. I think
I
All
still
right.
think of him as the big ceiling guy.
If you had JSN and Jameson Williams, who would you start?
Jameson Williams.
Oh, see, I'd probably start JSN. Yeah,
It
See,
depends how you look at it.
both really good offenses. I mean, that's you
like
probably really
JSN
thought
gets like
wide receiver
more
twos. So
targets, and but may not get in the end zone. Whereas Jameis, if he gets the ball, he's probably scoring a touchdown.
I did like how he just jogged in the end zone at like the 15-yard line. He just did the whole long leg hop. I was like, that's my boy.
And they're both on teams that want to win by running. So many teams want to win by running this year. Like running
It's
the
very
ball
unfortunate.
has really come back like with a vengeance.
Yeah. The Oh, Weeman was supposed to show up tonight, and I don't think he's going to.
Yeah.
He said he was watching the debate, and I was like, why don't you watch something better than that, like fifth quarter fantasy cast?
Didn't we go head to head with the other debate last
Yeah,
time?
We did.
like we have experience doing this.
We
Like,
always go head to head with the debate.
yeah, we don't give a shit about the debate.
Doc, did you have any kind of rage trade or rage drops this past week?
Oh, I did. Yeah, Kyle Pitts. So I rage dropped him a couple weeks ago, and then I still had him somewhere. And yeah, good story. So I rage traded him. I was gonna just drop him, but it didn't give me the option, and because it was some weird. I guess it was a league setting where it was like, oh, he's already in your lineup, and it's like, yeah, I don't want to miss out on all the points he got me. He got me 0. so 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 I was like, hey, if anybody like I'm gonna drop this guy, but if you'd like to bypass waivers and just get him, you can offer me your worst pick, and I'll take it. So that one we have a 3 round rookie draft. So I got a 2025 third rounder out of it, which I love because I don't have a tight end right now, so that's where I'm going for waiver wire. I think I'm looking to add like Taysom Hill or something, and he's just gonna be who I roll with. So but I mean, you could do worse. I mean, there aren't any good tight ends
No.
like even at the top. So why not? So, um, so yeah, but that was really cool. I got a 2025 third. I was expecting a 2027 third to be honest. So good for me. I don't even have to wait to reap the benefit. But I'm definitely excited to see what 2025 third does on the field because I bet he scores more points than Kyle Pitts.
You're gonna keep up with that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and you can return to your debate. I guess I know you've been putting it off to make sure you finish our podcast first, which thank you. That's important.
Appreciate it.
So,
Both of you.
but yeah, before you go, don't forget to lift, laugh, love, like, and subscribe. Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast. Bye bye, everybody.